today's broadcast, we have a very special visit to the planet of Karn, where we met with the exiled Prydonians of New Gallifrey, who are now calling themselves the Prydonian chapter of Karn. I was accompanied to the meeting by the Lightfoot, Lord Ulon Sputnik's companion, who acted as camerawoman. In the recording of the meeting you will hear, the voices of Lady Karma and Lady Rowan are supplied by actors. Lady Karma, thank you for agreeing to meet NGPR today. I am fascinated to visit Karn. Has your plan to retire to Karn been long in the making?
You are quite welcome, honorable guests. It's regrettable it's under such circumstances. Having said that, to answer your question, saving this world, as much of it as was possible given the last days of the war, I did what I felt was necessary so that this, my home, would not burn as so many other worlds did.
Did you have plans for this place to be a retreat, or did circumstances force you to move here?
No, this is not the complete whole world. We did leave a terraformed world in Karn's image, along with others who volunteered to remain in End Space.
Why was your reaction to the events of the High Council to flee, when, according to your declaration, you weren't involved in them in any way?
I wanted to return home for quite some time, but conditions and obligations prevented things. I wanted to ensure that the mathematics for the calculations in restoring what remained of my home came through. It took a few years. We had found the situation on New Gallifrey was an untenable one. We needed the separation. The council meeting's own reactions and bloodlust were something that was frighteningly eerie. The council didn't sound like reasonable intellectual leaders, but rather more like a group of mad and hungry Daleks. Even a few cries of extermination were called out.
As for why we left in such a hasty manner, well, as we briefly mentioned in a recent statement, Lord Abbot had given us an instruction before the meeting, very immediately before, carefully not giving us much time to think about it. We all suspected that Sen of Patrix might play us false, and he played upon that, primed us to flee.
If I may, Your Grooviness and Your Hipness, I'd like to give my own reason for my somewhat hasty retreat.
By all means, madman.
During the meeting, what we already knew was confirmed, that our TTCs are sentient life forms. Nigh on immediately after that was confirmed for all to see, the Lord President, himself at least partially TTC, ordered the removal of our capsule's dematerialization circuits. I, for one, know that my capsule relies on me for her protection and safety. I would be damned if I would stand by and allow the Council to rape her in such a manner.
So your retreat was, in part, an attempt to protect not yourselves, but your TTCs?
In my case, yes.
And we were, of course, denied the opportunity to challenge it by Lord Abbot. Just as Chancellor Sputnik was speaking to defend that cause and appeal for reason, Abbot, having already instructed us to prepare time rings in case the Council should seek our deaths without fair trial, Abbot transmitted the signal to depart and did what he did. I don't think we need to describe it again. So that our capsules would be placed in deadly danger, and ourselves, we would hardly be in any position to argue our case with the Lord Chancellor's blood still wet on the floor.
While the Chancellor and I may have had our differences, he has a wisdom many respected. There was no need for such an action. And it did not come from me or Lady Thursday, nor anyone else of my house.
May I ask what steps you have taken to apprehend Lord Miraflex? I am aware, in asking, that you will not want to betray any secret that Lord Miraflex might make use of.
I would like to caution Your Hipness against giving out too much information on such a serious security matter.
As to Lord Abbot, we have maintained a constant sensor sweep on all communicator channels he has been known to use. The molecular patterner and all relevant data concerning his unique travel capsule have been collated, and a copy of everything we have. It isn't all that much, unfortunately. Abbot was not very forthcoming, even before this incident, but every little helps. Security of our allies is one thing. I wish no security for that traitor.
The unredacted biodata extract of Abbot. Please see to it that the right authorities have that information.
Thank you.
Prior to the council meeting a few days earlier, I paid the Zenobia station a visit down to the Matrix vaults, and using a few older codes, I removed all my house's biodata extracts. If things went bad, I did not wish to let others have an easy job of tracking or impeding our own plans.
So, Lady Karma, do you see this secession from New Gallifrey as final?
Final? No, this is more of a classical impasse, a pause between ideas. It's our hope over time there can be a peaceful coexistence. We've lost too many and so much. We do not need blood spilt over things.
Do you foresee a time when you might be prepared to return to New Gallifrey?
Return? I'm not so sure. I would be open to a peaceful and positive exchange of information and ideas between where we have left and what we are building here on Karn. Perhaps sometimes even a possibility of accepting some sort of ambassadorial exchange. Lady Thursday, you're free to add something if you wish.
Really, the situation is somewhat something we'll have to react to. We will not return while submission to New Gallifrey would involve submission to the current state of the government. If that changes, then we will respond according to the new situation.
I see.
Madman, your thoughts?
I would concur with Her Grooviness and Her Hipness. I believe that what we are starting to build here on Karn is something which could be of great import to the whole kind of general mishmash that is the multiverse. I do think it could be of mutual benefit for a form of alliance eventually with New Gallifrey, but the current political climate is not something I feel comfortable being a part of there. Plus, I believe it would be a nice gesture of the end of any possible hostilities for the High Council to give us a balloon animal, but not a poodle. They scare me.
Lady Karma, may I ask about that key you were wearing?
Ah, this. It's not a very remarkable key, but it is one of a few artifacts of our house that we've been caretakers of for a very long time. It helped facilitate this world's return.
I would say that any key that can help facilitate a world's return is demonstrably remarkable, my lady.
A key is, well, a key. Not a weapon, a tool for changing state. Locked to unlocked, matter to energy, or vice versa.
It is. But like most relics, it should be kept in great care and used sparingly. I do admit the President, or as I've called him, the Chariot, was right about checks and balances, but just because one has something potent doesn't mean such items should be trotted out and used like a toaster or butter spread over warm bread. It's the wisdom to knowing when that's also important.
He was both right and wrong. He railed against us destroying a system of check and balance, but failed to understand. We have pulled out. Consider a balance. It is a lever, a pivot upon a fulcrum.
What did he fail to understand, Lady Rowan?
He has given great, unprecedented and centralized power to one faction, that allied with Oliesti and the Ceruleans. He himself has disrupted the balance of power to a catastrophic extent. We have pulled away, ceased to hold ourselves so much in check. It's far from perfect. In fact, it's chaotic. But in opposition as we are, in one sense the balance is better retained than it would have been had we remained subsumed within an Oliesti-dominated council. Or, put another way, his fear was that without balance, New Gallifrey might wage partisan war on time and the cosmos.
In your recent declaration, you did suggest that Prydon of Karn does possess some formidable weapons. Can you give assurances that these will not be used offensively?
I do not wish to use any of them if they are not needed. But when I've got an arch-rival sitting in an armed space station with large pointy things that make loud noises, I felt it best we have means of defending ourselves. With the calls of mass execution, we find we were up against a wall, and we're in it for our own survival.
I understand that you feel the need to take extraordinary measures for your defense. However, are you prepared to guarantee that these weapons will not be used offensively?
Currently, we're all cancelling each other out by pointing those weapons at one another, and provided no one's so idiotic as to fire them, on which point I'll pass back to Lady Karma, the balance is effectively maintained for the time being.
If we're left in peace and not provoked, then I don't wish to use any of them, and would prefer to mothball them. But I do not want to sit idly by with no means of defense either.
Do you believe that a state of what is, in fact, mutually assured destruction is the best path forward for the Time Lords in Second Life space?
No, it's the third worst.
I do not, but a detente and a de-escalation is required. However, as in statements made earlier by some individuals who felt we were nothing and had nothing, it was time to display that we value living. And if someone wants a war and has a lust for blood, then they must realize what their actions only can lead to. It would be the end for everything, and that is what I do not wish to see. But my words and my beliefs, I do not feel will give anyone any comfort anyway. And that's a far greater tragedy.
Destruction is the worst, obviously, followed by subsumation beneath a tyranny with no effective opposition. This situation is a holding pattern, an enforced stability in the hope that it holds long enough for passions to cool and negotiation to be possible.
I see. And you believe that to defend your position, you must be in a position to be able to take offensive action. And I perfectly accept that this is not something you regard with equanimity.
Normally, no. No, I would not. But as these are extraordinary times, and some who can be counted on as a friend may just as well turn around and shoot you in the back, it's safer to have some sort of means of saying, no, this line, no further. Cross that hard line, and it will doom us all. It does, however, leave us in a position to create the first building blocks to establish some sort of peace without a Cold War. History has always been written by those who win the wars. We do not wish a war, but we do not wish simply to roll over either.
Lady Karn, Lady Rowan, Castellan, thank you so much for speaking with us here today. Stay tuned to NGPR, your news service for New Gallifrey.